and welcome back to another episode with Brittney Bundles. Today we're going to be talking about 5 reasons why you should never let anyone stop you. I am smiling while I say this because this is going to be an impactful message for someone. I truly believe that someone listening to this podcast needs to hear this message. It's important that we understand our value. I was wearing a shirt the other day that says, "Know your worth," and add text to it. And I thought it was a cute and kind of interesting saying. And in so many aspects, that shirt is true. We do need to make sure that we are finding our worth, we are finding our value, and that we are figuring out a way to not necessarily add text, but to add value to our lives and to others. And so there's so many things as entrepreneurs that we go through as far as personal growth or business growth. Different things may shift with your mentality, different things may shift with your finances. And one thing that I've had to learn becoming an entrepreneur is that it's easy to give up. It's easy to stop. It's easy to become discouraged. It's easy to look around and see all of the people that don't support you. It's easy to look around and second guess yourself and compare yourself to the next entrepreneur, the next business. It's easy to sometimes even fall into depression. And so I'm here to remind all of you to never let anyone stop you. And we're going to get into why in just a moment. So the first thing that I want to touch on is one reason why you should never let anyone stop you is for your internal respect. There's just some things that you need to do for your personal fulfillment. Personal fulfillment is so important. Making sure that you're happy with yourself is so important. I think a lot of times we put our happiness on other people. Well, they're not making me happy. They don't make me happy. They're not feeding into me. And although, depending on the relationship and the place that the person holds in your life, I do think there's a great deal of responsibility to make sure that they're contributing to the relationship and contributing to your growth. However, the key person and your happiness is you. And so happiness is a choice, and that's something that I'm constantly reminding myself of. That's something that I'm constantly sharing, because it's our choice whether or not we're going to be happy. It's our choice whether or not we're going to be fulfilled. It's our choice whether or not we're going to move forward. And so there's just some things that I need to do for my personal self-growth and also for my personal happiness. There are some things that another person cannot give me. And so I need to make sure that I'm doing what it is I enjoy doing, what it is I see value in, what it is I was called to do, what it is I feel my purpose is tied to, in order for me to feel the self-fulfillment that is very necessary in one's happiness. I see so many posts on social media, so many quotes about happiness. How do I find happiness? How do I find this? And a lot of times, happiness is not something that you necessarily just find or you happen upon. It's something that you actually work towards. It's something that you decide. It's something that you intentionally strive for every day. And so that's the number one thing that I want to remind everyone is never let anyone stop you, because you are going to need that internal respect for yourself and also the self-fulfillment that only you can provide for you. There's certain things that only I can do in order to provide the happiness that I'm looking for. And so me creating my business, me being able to get up and do something that I enjoy doing, me being able to get up and do something that makes me happy, that uses my gifts, that uses my skill sets, is something that helps me create and maintain my version of being happy. And does that mean that every day I'm going to wake up just excited and energetic and over the hills? No. But I truly believe that being happy is a state of mind. Being happy is it's an emotion, it's a feeling, and it's a lifestyle and a awareness that you can create for yourself by doing certain things for your personal self-fulfillment. And everyone has a different purpose and a plan, and everyone has a different fulfillment level for themselves. You know, my self-fulfillment needs are going to be completely different from yours. But I think one of the things that being an entrepreneur allows you to do is it allows you to be able to become creative and dig deeper and find what it is that makes you happy and be able to sustain yourself from doing that. I talk a lot about when I was going to work, when I was working a 9 to 5, I would a lot of times feel very depressed and very sad because I wasn't finding or fulfilling my personal needs. I was just going to work for a check, simply a check. And so I needed to create a lane for myself where I could do what it is I needed to do for my self-fulfillment. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is impact. Impact. And the second reason why you should never let anyone stop you from doing what it is you want to do is because of the impact of what you're going to do. God has only made one of you. Okay. And so when God created me, there are certain skills that he placed in me. There's a purpose that he has for my life. Everyone else may not understand that, although I may spend years, feeling like I'm alone, and I may be alone. But ultimately, one of the important things about becoming an entrepreneur and about sticking up for what it is you want to do, because of a huge part of being able to carry forth something that you want to do with no support or with little support, and also with people that, just may not understand where you're coming from, with people that may not want to or may not be able to relate to you, it's being able to first identify your purpose, first identify what it is you enjoy doing. And we're going to be talking about how to find your purpose, because in a lot of my videos on YouTube and also my podcast, I talk about relating your business to your purpose. But I also do get questions on, well, how do I find my purpose? So we're going to be talking about that in another episode. So make sure that you are tuning back in regularly and that you are listening to the podcast. But impact, you never know what your purpose or who your purpose is tied to. If I decided to stop doing what it is I do, there would be some people that wouldn't have got the service or the value that I provided, enhancing their business, or, the inspiration that I provided through a video, or, maybe the tips that I provided through an email. They wouldn't have received it because I would have stopped. And so a lot of times it's not even a matter of continuing just for your self-fulfillment, but it's also continuing so that you can continue to bless and inspire and place value in others' lives as well. Like I mentioned, we all have different gifts. We all have different skill sets. And I think that it's one of our responsibilities to make sure that we're becoming the best that we can be, and that we're constantly doing what we can do to give back and to instill and promote growth in others. Whether someone understands where you're coming from or not, whether you have support or you don't, another important part of continuing on your journey and not allowing anyone or anything to stop you is because what you're doing can make such a huge impact that it not only affects your life, but it affects so many other people's lives. And so, purpose and inspiration and motivation are things that are said very often in the entrepreneurial realm. But I think that they're said so often that we sometimes downplay the impact of providing inspiration to others, of adding value to others' lives, of sharing tips, of, helping to motivate. I think sometimes we forget about that. And so whether someone supports me or not, I want to make sure that I'm that supportive figure for someone that may not have support. Whether someone has inspiration or not, I want to make sure that I'm doing my part in providing inspiration. Whether someone, is able to research or has the resources to go after what it is they want to do for their business, I want to make sure that I'm putting out as many resources and that I'm sharing my tips and I'm sharing my journey so that I can help in any way that I can. So that's another important reason why you should never let anyone stop you or anything stop you from moving forward with your business. It's because of the impact that your business, your vision, and your purpose will have on other people's lives. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is there's only one you. Okay, so your job isn't to get approval for your dreams nor purpose. There's only one you. When I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs and I ask, hey, what's brought you to this point? Because a lot of people email me and they're like, I just want to stop. I don't feel like continuing my business. And this is coming from people that are in the hair industry. I am in the hair industry, and this is coming from people that are also not in the hair industry. I work with other entrepreneurs that have never sold hair, don't know anything about hair, and they're simply looking to better their business. And a lot of times, a lot of people are saying that they don't want to continue because they don't have support, the lack of support. I've made multiple videos about that. And as someone in the entrepreneurial realm, I completely understand. I completely have had those days and those nights where I just did not want to do anything. The next day would come and I'm like, you know what, what's the point of doing this? I feel like I'm not getting the recognition that I deserve. I feel like I'm not really getting any support from my family, my friends. I feel like I'm not really being backed, or I don't really have a network of motivation or inspiration or resources where I can get the things that I need for my business, things that I need for my self growth, for my mindset. And, there's just some days that you'll just wake up feeling like, what's the purpose? What's the point of doing this? Who am I really benefiting? Who am I really helping? And so when you do have those thoughts like that, one thing that I challenge everyone to do is to speak truth, even to myself. Some days when I feel like, wow, I'm not really feeling too good today, I clean myself up, and I say clean myself up because some days you'll just be laying in the bed and you're like, wow, I haven't gotten my shower yet. I haven't even brushed my teeth yet. I'm just in the bed and these thoughts will start happening. One thing that I challenge myself to do, or a few things that I challenge myself to do, is always get up, get dressed, brush your teeth, take your shower, look at yourself in the mirror. Thank God for waking you up for another day. And what I begin to do is to speak truth to myself. So whether anyone else sees my purpose, sees the value, sees what I'm doing or not, that's not my business. That's not my focus. And so I've created videos in the past about shifting the focus and redirecting the focus and speaking truth. I want to make sure that I'm constantly speaking truth to myself. Brittney, this is why you're doing it. So when I have those thoughts and I'm saying, why are you even doing this? Why are we doing this today? Why? What's the point? I speak to that. This is the point. This is why I'm doing this. This is what, we're moving towards. This is our goal. And I constantly reminding myself of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so there's only one you. If you don't go after your dreams, if you don't stick with your passion, your purpose, who else is going to do it? And then, like I mentioned before, the people that are tied to your passion, your gifts, your skill sets may not be able to get what they need the way that they were intended to get what they need, because you aren't doing what you're supposed to do. I think we all have a responsibility. We all have a role to play in making sure that we do our part in bettering ourselves and bettering as many people as we possibly can. And so there's only one you. There's only one me. And I'm the only one that can do my assignment. And so even if you're in the position and you're like, you know what, I don't really know what my assignment is, one thing that you can start doing, and we're going to touch on this a little bit further when I talk about finding your purpose, is becoming active with your skills, becoming active with your gifts, becoming active with your dreams, becoming active with your passions. And by doing that, that's going to open up so many different doors, so many opportunities. It should show you, or could show you, more things about yourself that you didn't even know, could put you in communication and contact in the presence of other people. And so a lot of times, I think one thing that keeps us stagnant is our fear to move, our fear to actually get started. And I remember sitting in my car one day and I was thinking, wow, I really wish I had more support. And I could have decided at that point, you know what, I don't have the support that I want. I'm going to just go ahead and stop. But I didn't do that. I continued. And by me doing that, I opened more doors. I met more people and I have so much support. I can tell you that I see the emails that people write me. I see the messages that people send me. I see the text messages that people write as well, the DMs. There's just so much love out there. And sometimes I just think back to, well, what if I would have stopped? What if I would have stopped? I wouldn't have received the support that I now have. I wouldn't have been able to touch as many lives as I currently do. I wouldn't know as many things as I know now. I wouldn't have grown as much as I have grown. And I'm ultimately thankful to God that I didn't stop and that I didn't allow anyone, or I didn't allow myself ultimately to talk myself out of doing something that I needed to do for my purpose and something that I needed to do with the gifts that God blessed me with. Now, I also want to touch on this. Another reason why you should never let anyone or anything stop you from achieving your dreams, going after, your success, building your business, is because of the greater gain. We talked about this on this podcast already. Your purpose is bigger than you. Realizing that becoming the best you will cause you to possibly lose some. However, the greater gain comes from those whom you touch. So a lot of times when you're getting ready for any big change in your life, you may notice that there are just some people that are not meant to go into the next season of your life. And being younger, I didn't really understand that. I'm like, well, what do you mean? I want to take everyone with me. And I want everyone to go with me. I want everyone, my people that were with me from the beginning or before I started the business, I want them to grow with me. And so a lot of times we take it upon ourselves to think that we know what's best. We know who needs to be in our life. We know this, we know that. And sometimes what we think we know, we simply just don't. There are some people, like I mentioned before, that are just not meant or built to go into the next season of your life with you for whatever reason. And that's one of the things that we have to start putting in perspective. Hey, I would love for everyone to come with me. I would love for me to stay in communication with everyone, but realistically, it's not realistic. More than likely, someone is not going to continue on the path with me. More than likely, the people that are not meant to build me or build with me or to help me grow, the people that I've already shared the information with that can help grow them. And at some point you kind of get at standstills. Even in relationships, you're like, look, there's nothing else that we can possibly do. I feel like we're at a standstill. There's nothing else that we can do for each other to grow each other or to push each other further to our dreams or toward our purpose or toward our success. And sometimes, like I mentioned, when you are growing, when you are experiencing growth, not only do you experience some of those growing pains, but you also realize that some of the things that I wanted or I thought I wanted are not necessarily what I need. And so when I began to look at that, I stopped looking at it as, well, wow, why doesn't this person support me? And I started looking at the bigger picture. There are just some people that are not going to support you in this season because they simply are not supposed to be with you in this season. We get so wrapped up in our feelings, so wrapped up in what we want to happen, and we close doors and opportunities for us to move forward and for us to meet new people and for us to continue with our purpose and continue on the right path because we're stuck on trying to figure out, why can I get this person to come with me? Why can I get these people to want to do this? Why? The people that need to hear what you have to say, the people that you need to come into contact with, typically are going to be there available for you. The people that you don't need to be around, the people that are not going to support you, the people that are not helping your purpose, not helping your skill sets, not helping you grow mentally, not helping you in any aspect of your life, are people that are simply just there. And I'm not saying that every relationship has to necessarily give you something in the form of monetary gain, but I'm saying that every relationship that you have should feed into you some way. So whether it's helping you on your spiritual journey, whether it's helping you on your mental journey, whether it's helping you with your support, whether it's helping you with your maybe mentality, whether it's helping you with your inspiration, whatever the case may be, but there should always be something that you're doing to invest back into someone else's life, and there should always be something that that person is doing to invest in your life as well. And so a lot of times we allow people that aren't even investing into us spiritually, mentally, emotionally, we allow them to take away even more than they've already taken. You're not going to take my dreams. You're not going to stop my dreams. And, I really had to kind of think of how I position those words. We allowed them, but ultimately you're allowing yourself. You're allowing yourself to give the power to someone else to take your dreams. And we've come too far, whether you've just gotten started with your business or whether it's something that you are going to start in the near future, you've still come too far. You've come too far with the thoughts. You've come too far with the preparation, even if it's been in your mind, to allow someone to have that much power to stop you from your actual growth. And so remember, the more you grow, it's very common to lose people along the way. It's very common. And we have to look at the bigger picture and decide if we're going to allow people that are leaving our life to stop or to cause us to stop wanting to move forward, or if we're going to say, you know what? I really wanted them to come with me, but ultimately my purpose, my passion, what I'm designed to do and the people that I'm impacting, it outweighs me wanting to stop because I'm not getting the result that I personally wanted to get with this relationship or with the support or with the numbers or with my sales. And so I'm going to continue to go and continue to grow because I know that my growth is ultimately connected to growing so many more. The last thing that I want to touch on is never let temporary feelings cause lifelong regrets, because you never want to be in a position where you're always wondering, well, what if I did this? What if I did that? I remember my grandmother, I was talking to her when I was contemplating opening my salon. And I talk about opening my salon in so many different videos and so many different podcasts because that was such an eye-opening experience for me. And I went back and forth, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I open this? Should I maybe relocate? Should I get this building? Should I get that building? Should I do this? Should I? And it was just so many back and forth thoughts. And I asked my loved ones, my family members, what do you think I should do? And my grandmother said something that stuck out to me. She said, if you don't go for it, you'll always wonder what if. You'll think back and you'll say, well, what if I would have done that? I wonder how that would have gone. And I wonder how this would have gone. And I thought about that, and that was completely true. And one thing that I always say is I can accept trying something and that something not working out as I intended versus accepting just not trying. I don't want to accept just not trying. That's just not in me. I want to try. I want to see what will possibly happen. And if it's something that I enjoy doing, then it's something that I'm not easily willing or ready to toss out. I'm a fighter, you know what I mean? Not physically, but I fight for things that I know provide value. And so if I know what I'm doing is providing value even to one person, then I'm going to continue to do it as long as it aligns with my purpose and as long as it's something that is beneficial on both aspects. I also want to make sure that I'm not just doing something to solely pour out and give out because it's also unrealistic to think that you can constantly fill from a cup that's not full itself. And so in order for us to be full too, we have to make sure that we're enjoying what we're doing too. Not saying that every day you're going to get up and be excited to do, whatever you're doing, because like I've said in a lot of videos on my YouTube channel, we are human. So there are going to be some days where you wake up and you're like, I just don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like going here. I don't feel like trying this. I don't feel like doing it. But that's where coming back and speaking truth to our mindset, and also making sure that we're reminding ourselves of why we're doing this, the greater purpose, and making sure that we find something that we're passionate about that's tied into our gifts and that's tied into our purpose. It's going to make everything come together. And so I wanted to know how it would be. Will I enjoy opening my salon? Will I enjoy running the salon? And that's something that I had to try. No matter if someone told me I wouldn't enjoy it, no matter if someone told me not to do it. There were people that told me to do it, people that told me not to do it, but it was something ultimately that I had to do for me. And I don't regret it. And so I never want temporary feelings. So me feeling nervous to stop me from going after my dreams, which could have a lifelong positive impact on my life and also others. I never want my anxiety to stop me from moving forward with my dreams. I never want anyone's doubt or anyone's negative thoughts or feelings about me or my business ideas to stop me. I never want the lack of support from anyone to stop me. I always want to make sure that I'm achieving and reaching for my best self. And so becoming your version of successful, making sure that you're self-fulfilled are things that don't just typically happen by accident. There are things that are intentional that go into providing the happiness that we're all looking for, when honestly, like I mentioned before, happiness is really not something that I believe that can be found. It's something that needs to be created. It's something that should be created because there's people that have gone their whole life just trying to search for this happiness. And ultimately, we're responsible for our own happiness. We're responsible for making sure that we continue to move forward. We're responsible for making sure that we fulfill our life assignment. We're responsible for making sure that we use the gifts that God has blessed us with. We're responsible for our eternal destiny. We're responsible for the actions that we do, for the words that we say. And so ultimately, we have to shift the way that we're thinking and remember that the goal and the job that we're doing, the work that we're doing, the inspiration that we're giving out, the motivational tips that we're explaining and that we're sharing, it's all connected to a bigger purpose. And so those are 5 reasons why you should never let anyone stop you or anything stop you. Those are 5 reasons why I'm not allowing anyone to stop me. And I really hope that this helped to put everything in perspective. And if anything, if you got nothing out of this message, I hope that you get that you are in control of your happiness and you are in control of making sure that you go after your dreams, regardless if you feel like you have support, if you don't have support, regardless if you feel like doing it or not some days. Ultimately, if this is something that you know you should be doing, continue doing it and continue to speak truth to yourself. Stay on your path, stay focused, and a lot of times you'll find that the doors will open up the longer that you stick to it and the more you grow along your journey. So I really hope that this podcast helped. If you have any questions or if you have any comments, feel free to email me. Like I mentioned, I do want to keep the conversation or the topic going even after the podcast ends. You can reach out to me on any of my social media platforms, YouTube at Brittney Bundles, Instagram, Brittney_bundles, Facebook at Brittney Bundles, or send me an email at btalks@yahoo.com. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll talk to you in the next podcast.